Honda buyers tend to be, shall we say, more mature. Aside from the hardcore audience who snap up the manic Type R Hondas, Civics were cars you moved into when you drew your retirement. Honda hopes to change all that with its radically new Civic. Not only does it have the Golf and Alfa 147 in its sights, Honda even thinks it has the class to take on Audi's A3 and the BMW 1 Series. Bold thoughts indeed. As far as styling goes, the Civic wears its upmarket dream proudly. It's an extremely bold design. A chrome and perspex grille dominates the front, and there are more than a few triangles, from the front driving lights, through the side indicators, to the exhaust tailpipes. The buyer of this car won't be happy though. The orange peel paint finish is the worst we have seen in ages. So style-wise, the Civic couldn't be further removed from its staid, middle-aged predecessor. And that theme equally dominates the interior. The driver is cocooned in a cockpit that's more flight deck than conventional dashboard. Directly in front is an enormous rev counter, with tiny digital gauges in the centre. The digital speedometer sits above all this immediately below the windscreen, and there are buttons everywhere. The gear stick is now in a more conventional position on the floor, rather than sticking out of the dashboard as it did on the old car. It's a crisp 6-speeder, available as a regular manual or with an automatic clutch and paddle shifts behind the steering wheel. The Civic needs to drive very well indeed to take on those rivals from Audi and BMW. First impressions are good. The driving position is comfortable, the pedals well spaced, and that 6-speed manual provides a precise shift. The 1.8-litre 16-valve engine in this model is delightful too. Smooth and willing, it's far more eager and responsive than the rather slothful 1.4, which is the only other petrol alternative. Still, if there is a model for forward-thinking pensioners who can handle a Civic style, maybe the 1.4 is the car for them. This 1.8 has a power output of 138 brake horsepower, and that translates into a 0 to 60 miles an hour acceleration time of just 8.6 seconds, well into 1 Series and A3 territory. The Civic does a decent job of providing an entertaining drive too. The steering and handling really do provide the level of involvement many drivers crave for. It makes a compelling case for itself in other respects too. This Honda is practical with rear seats that are incredibly easy to fold down, though mighty heavy to lift back into place. In normal configuration, the boot is large and easy to load. The seats are comfortable front and rear, but they can't overcome the jarring ride from the very firm suspension. Visibility is compromised for the sake of the style. There's no rear wiper and poor rear vision when parking. But does the latest Civic really stack up against those rivals? The radical design has finally shaken off the fuddy-duddy image, but it doesn't drive as sharply as the BMW or Audi, while the Ford Focus still beats it in terms of steering, ride and handling. But neither is the Civic greatly outclassed by any of these cars. Honda has raised its game to a new level for its smaller family car, and that will surely increase its appeal to younger buyers. As for good points, it's roomy, practical and comfortable, it's pleasing to drive, and owners do love their Hondas. As for bad points, the suspension is too firm, there's poor visibility, and it's expensive. This 1.8 EX is £17,000.